Welcome, race fans, back to SVR. My name is Webbo. Very pleased to be here for what is our season finale of the fabulous S1 division, and we can't wait to get underway. We are at the glorious Temple of Speed here, the fabulous circuit of Monza, outside of Milan, to the northeast in the Parco di Monza. And a special hello and thank you for tuning in to Delma Diaz for supporting her son Jose Luis today in his final race, as well as obviously everybody else's final race of the season. Coach Dave are on top in S1, as is of little surprise, thanks to their fantastic all-conquering driver Vader, and they have 279 points, but Delesi could still steal this championship on 269 with a strong finish today, but we'll certainly be hoping to hang on to second place at a bare minimum. Kimi's racing team moving to third place on 258, just 3 ahead of Mega Racing. How close can it be here for the finish of the season in the Constructors' Championship? Of course, our marquee event, the S1 Championship. Jan Placht Interiors moved up to 5th place in no small part thanks to Adaptive Inc. Joining the team in the previous round and getting a 2nd place on his debut. Brocargo dropped to 6th on 159, and Buckstein Racing have 138 points total. In the Drivers' Championship, take a look at all that gold at the top. It's Vader, of course, who is leading the championship and has 213 points to Beregoz' 207. 4 wins to Beregoz. What is that? 7 wins to Vader, and they have been head-to-head for much of this season, as we'll see in a moment after qualifying. Got a little video for you, little video package for you prepared by my son, who is about to start his film and media course. We've got Balofay in P3 on 159 points, pretty much guaranteed to stay in 3rd place as well, Balofay, but I think not appearing today. He will be replaced by V8 Ita, who has already won the S2 Championship. Soulshock is in 4th place on 115 points, and Vicinity for Team Mega is 5th place on 96. Well, Grizzle has moved up into 6th place on 74. Great to see one of our hard chargers from Season 1 still at it and still competing at a high level here, as is Scavvy in 7th place. Could still pip Well Grizzle for 6th, and we have Senor Dude in 8th. Joe Gonsim is in 9th place as well. It's all to play for in the midfield and the tail end of the championship here, but we've got Joe Gonsim 9th, Yank the Tank in 10th, level with Skycloud, who has only taken part in 5 races to this point. We have Mario in 12th, Redux in 13th place, and Adaptive Inc. Having scored 16 on his debut, and we'll wait to see exactly what will take place today. Of course, the drivers are ready for qualifying. We will get you trackside for exactly that, and we will have 10 minutes to run, and there will be precious little time on the soft tyres here for the drivers to really push. Senor Dude is the first one out of the pit lane, with Joe Gonsim in 2nd. Now, as far as my information gives me, I believe that Vader needs 4th and the fastest lap. 4th and the fastest lap or better with a Beregoz win to still take the championship. But anything worse than that will give the championship over to Beregoz. And remember, Vader was pipped right at the end of the S1 season last season by Tequila Monkey. And despite being one of the front runners all the way through his run of the 2024 VR Sim Racing World Championship. So here we are in 2025, and Vader has unfinished business, I think it's fair to say, here. And is very, very keen to stay on. So keen, in fact, that he saw Adaptive Inc. come in and raised his game to an almost unbelievable level out in the previous round. So that is all very, very exciting stuff, and it is Monza, so anything could happen out here. We will join Vader for his lap, and I tell you, and what we'll try and do is give you a different view of a driver. We'll give you the 2nd place driver in the championship, Beregoz, to follow picture in picture here. and of course it's all to play for here in the championship. Vader comes out of Parabolica corner, and we'll be hoping to make use of that overtake allowance as well. The drivers get a certain amount of overtake boost for their qualifying session. He's not actually using any down the main straight here, the Rettifilo Tribune, as we head into the Varianti del Rettifilo and out of the following corner. The cars riding the bumps quite nicely, rather than the Adrian Newey cars that tend to rattle and shake over the exit curve. Through Curva Grande we go, and heading towards Variante della Roggia, which is to the left-hand side. A lot of apex curb there on the Cheeto curbs from Vader. Clearly the car is willing to accept that kind of punishment, and then riding very wide out of Lesmo 1 in through Lesmo 2, which is a shade slower, but sets you up through the Curva del Serraglio underneath the old oval circuit, and heading straight towards the terror that is Varianti Ascari. Here we go. Take as much curb as you dare in qualifying, but in the race and low grip situation you do really want to be extremely careful through here. My performance today will be the thing that the drivers are trying to avoid like the plague. In towards Parabolica corner we go, and Vader has a very handy tow here on the back of Beregoz's teammate Joe Gonsim, and this will help him forward. Senor Dude with the first lap. Vader completely off the circuit to the right, goes 1.9 seconds faster, but Beregoz steals it straight away into that second place. What an opening there from Beregoz in the end. And we'll wait to see where Adaptive Inc. currently is. He's about to cross the line, and he goes second place. Our driver from Poland, my apologies for confusing the flags last race, but 1.183 seconds separating Beregoz and Adaptive Inc. we ride with right now. Vader in third place, 2.5 tenths off the outright lead, and I fear that was in part due to hitting the Cheetos quite hard. Adaptive Inc. has used a bit of his slipstream, his overtake boost here, coming out of that first flying lap. But the drivers in front and behind of him have not used it. So we'll be expecting the drivers now, having taken out what they can out of those tyres. You see the front left for Vader is almost 50% worn after just one flying lap and an out lap and a half a lap essentially at racing speed. Do reassure me that the live chat is active and working today, folks. Make me have a very, very lonely race if you're not going to be here chatting with me. I've sent lots of links in the live chat as well for you to enjoy the race on separate screens or on picture-in-picture, so you can act as an engineer today and let me know what's going on the circuit, and be part of today's broadcast. It is the final race of the season, of course, for the S1 drivers. We won't see them again in this in these cars probably until the early part of Q2 next year potentially. So make the most of this one if at all possible. Beregoz is your outright leader then in qualifying. A couple of drivers still on outlaps or inlaps. There is Skycloud. She's not far away, 1.3 seconds overall, but I think might be fighting over best of the rest. I think we have our hands full for a podium here. Oh, Malta, says Empire. I'm sure Vader told me Poland, but Malta. Thank you very much. We do need to improve Webbo's flag knowledge, so my apologies, Inc., for that one. Beregoz there, and how typical for the first live chat comment to be calling out an error on my part. There is Beregoz, our flying Finn. He races with the Mika Hakkinen helmet in honour of the great Finnish world champion, as we will give you a different driver to watch on their flying lap. I can't unfortunately give you Adaptive Inc. Sadly, I will switch over to Vader, this time in the small picture, while we will watch Beregoz as he heads. You can hear the throttle overrun there on the way down. I don't know if he and his teammate are coordinating here for a tow. No, I don't think so anyway. Behind him is his teammate. So that is Joe Gonsim behind there. and we were joking earlier on in a practice lobby that he was triggering safety cars and all sorts of things for his teammate. This is Beregoz then. He has the fastest lap so far. He's still not using the boost here. We only have a 10-minute qualifying session. I don't know if he's daring to try and get 3 flying laps out of this race so far. But we'll ride with him. You can watch Vader and call out anyone who appears to be going particularly quickly on these outlaps. It's a personal best mini sector surrounded by 2 slightly worse mini sectors for Beregoz. That leaves him slightly under. Someone has binned it going through the Della Roggia chicane. I think that must be Senor Dude. It looked like a Coach Dave car that has had a sticky problem there coming through. I wonder if Beregoz trying to extract a little bit more out of sectors 2 and 3. Vader's going quickly. He's got the purples on the timing screen so far. This is Beregoz though right now, and he is about to get his lap update. It is woefully slower actually from Beregoz this time. We'll check in with Vader here on the picture-in-picture and wait to see if he's improving. Certainly Adaptive Ink is improving by 3.5 tenths of a second as we ride with him absolutely on the edge through Ascari. That is so close to disaster. I can't even describe to you how close that one is. Surely Vader is about to take pole position. He does at 128.468, and Adaptive Ink has taken out all of his boost here. This is just a push to the line in the end. He's going to take the line of least resistance upwards. He goes third, but no better. A personal best from him. Beregoz is pitted. He's gone for a new set of tyres with 8 minutes and 18 seconds left to go on the clock. He may well have another lap out of this one if he can get around. And we've got enough overage once he's crossed the line and the checkered flag comes out. As Empire says, he could be Polish living in Malta. Well, that is also a true issue. So we'll try. Maybe he's Poltese. We'll perhaps consider. But I will make no more comment other than Adaptive Ink representing the white and red flagged country, and he runs through. I was pretty sure it wasn't Bahrain. I was unsure we might be in Monaco, Singapore. They're all very, very similar, unfortunately, though. This is Beregoz on his outlap. To take you through the rest of the order, Skycloud's on in 4th. V8 Eater, promotee, wannabe, certainly the 999 champion of S2, is qualifying in 5th position so far. Woe Grizzle in 6th, Jose in 7th, with Vicinity in 8th, Soulshock in 9th, Senor Dude in 10th, Jogon Sim, Scavi and Black Evo making out the 13 drivers contesting qualifying. Hopefully we'll get a 14th show up for the race, but we will wait and see if that is indeed going to happen. Running in towards this Parabolica corner, might give up a little bit of speed on entry on this outlap so that we can maximise our chances on the inlap as we ride with Beregoz, who did have the pole position. Still not using a great deal of his overtake boost. He will go for another lap. This is Vader on another lap, but it's 0.5 tenths of a second slower through sector 1 alone. So he absolutely maximised that run on the new tyres here. And there's a 2-second penalty on Beregoz's car. Adaptive Ink has gone into the pits. Skycloud is also slowing here. She has not been able to go any quicker. How is V8 Eater doing though? As we will stay with Vader. Picture in picture here. You can see his name on the inside edge of the halo, and then we've got Sky. This is V8 Eater with a real handful. Now he's coming in without experience using the additional settings that are available to V8 Eater. Hi to AJ watching with us live. Hi to everybody watching with us live. But please, if you want a shout out, do announce your presence. I'd love to hear from everybody watching and what they're enjoying. Empire says no, Beregoz. That's with the penalty there. So this is V8 Eater going in hot, and he has lost it through Ascari. Unfortunately, V8 Eater has spun the 999, but he's got it into 5th place, and that is certainly no mean feat whatsoever. This is Vicinity still pushing hard, I think. Certainly full throttle for Vicinity. Can we get an extra little place or 2 here out of Vicinity? He's in P8. This is a slower lap from him, I think, unfortunately. Senor Dude might have a shot at improving on the way through his next lap. So let's join Senor Dude as he goes to that Soul Shark. Senor Dude did get into P9 in the end, just behind Vicinity, but Vader leads our season in the standings, leads our championship, and leads qualifying once again. This time though, Beregoz pipping Adaptive Inc. With by not a large margin by any stretch, just 0.05 of a second separating Beregoz and Adaptive Inc. It's 1.5 tenths of a second between Vader and Beregoz, with Skycloud representing herself incredibly well, and of course the Kimmy's Racing team really well out there, no doubt at all. And there we have it, the qualifying results then. Vader on a 1:28.468, just shy of 0.2 of a second ahead of Beregoz. Adaptive Inc. deposed to the second row, and that's the row of danger, if my race was anything to go by, in P3 with Skycloud in 4th. V8 Eater in 5th, were Grizzle in 6th, Jose finishing 7th, and the first of the British-Irish flag drivers, Vicinity, in P8. Senor Dude and Soul Shock, the Canucks, on row number 5. Jogon Simmons, Scavvy on row 6. Black Evo substituting here today for his teammate, I believe, and settling into P13 in the end. We'll see if he can pick up some pace throughout the course of the race. Jose said he missed the line by 1 second, unfortunately, for his final flying lap. As Empire said, I think Beregoz had that time perfectly had he not made the error. That is so unfortunate. Absolutely agreed. So we'll wait and see. When we get an update on the start time, I will cut through to the next thing as we bounce at everybody, and we go through. As Vader says, that was tighter than it should have been on his lap. So absolutely very, very exciting to see the final of this season. Of course, we do have a championship to contend with, and it's Beregoz with an outside chance here, but anything can happen in Monza. Of course, we are setting the grid, race starting in 5 minutes time. 5 minutes time for the race, so there's plenty of time for me to take a quick drink, and we will be back in just a moment with the proper S1 drivers intro. and the story of the season so far. Your winner. Another victory with a tremendous dominant win. Aya is going to win in Suzuka round 3 of the championship to Vader, who wins in Interlagos. Beregoz survived the night of Daytona and wins. Tremendous win from Beregoz. And Bolide wins. Vader, imperious, on top and winning. Beregoz wins in Austria. Beregoz wins. Vader wins. Vader wins. Vader is your winner. Another victory with a tremendous dominant win. Aya is going. My apologies. Thanks to my son for producing that for us, and my apologies for letting it loop by accident, but you get the picture. It has been an incredible season, and let me know your predictions. Can Beregoz do it? Can he finish sufficiently far ahead of Vader to secure the championship? Can Vader continue to raise his game against Adaptive Inc? Who can survive the ferocious corners of the Rettifilio, the Roggia and the Ascari circuit issues that plague our drivers? And don't forget the Lesmos as well, also a significant difficulty for everybody concerned. The final is about to begin for the last time then, folks. We're about to go racing for SVR. This is S1. This is the championship, of course, ready to get underway. I'm going to leave off Hector for the start of the race so that I can focus on what's going on here. We have 5 red lights. It's Vader versus Beregoz, exactly how we wanted at the head of the field, and it's dropped the clutch and go, go, go as it's fairly even start with the boost being pressed immediately. Vader chops across Beregoz to get that inside line, that all-important inside line, but Beregoz could go around the outside. There's a Brokaga going a little bit bowling down the middle of the circuit. We will try and capture that in the replay buffer, but it's a head-to-head between the two title titans here as they run through Curva Grande. Vader got the nod ahead. Skycloud snuck herself into P3. At this stage, Beregoz has got the inside line going into the Della Roggia chicane, but he has to brake a little bit early. They're still going side by side. Absolute racing respect for our drivers is spinning out slightly. I think that might be V8 Eater who's gone wide and got the car under traction, has snapped away from him, but Beregoz leads us at this stage of proceedings. Absolutely incredible start from the drivers. It goes Beregoz, Vader, Skycloud, Wogrizzle with Ink down in 5th position. We've got Jose Luis in 6th with Senor Dude in 7th and Vicinity up to 8th. Scavvy, Black Evo from the back into 10th position. He survived the difficulties right at the very start of the race. V8 Eater screams ahead of Soul Shock, who's also had a bit of a nightmare start. It's Beregoz who leads us on the way into Parabolica corner. It's a question of whether you would rather be the leader or the follower through this next phase, and behind them is a 3-way battle for that 3rd position as they go fully wide, and that is well, questionable. I don't think the drivers will be allowed to overtake if they use that line. Beregoz pulling away, using the overtake to good effect, getting a great exit out of Parabolica corner. I wonder how Vader has set up the car, whether he was expecting to be in the lead or he's going to be ready to race here. Down we go. It's V8 Eater down in 12th position with we've got Soul Shock down in 14th place. Let's have a look at what happened at the start here, and we will try and give you the best view of this as we've got. This is Jose here in P6. He's going to go down the inside here, gets a little bit late on the brakes, knocks Adaptive Inc. into the infield, and then it's just a matter of everybody just getting, just questioning their run through the next corner. Soul Shock right at the back took that very, very steadily, as you would expect most of our drivers, our seasoned drivers, to do. But Beregoz leads, Vader in 2nd place. Let me know what your read of that start situation was. And Skycloud in P3 then. There is Adaptive Inc. who's got ahead of Woe Grizzle. I'll see if I can find that in the replay. Have we unfortunately missed that one? Yeah, sadly we have, but it's the Brokagas running. I think that's 5th and 6th position at this stage. Tremendous stuff. So as we run through Parabolica corner. It is Beregoz at the head of the field as he and Vader fight over first position. Vader using the overtake, both of them using all of that green painted surface near the start-finish line, as Beregoz with the ideal run through the Retafilo corner. And it's Adaptive Inc. chasing down Skycloud. Woe Grizzle ahead of his teammate Jose. Both of those drivers on the soft tyres. Senor Dude is on the softs. I think most drivers have gone for the softs. I think we're expecting just a one stop today. It's quite light on the tyres, believe it or not, through this difficult circuit for braking. But it's usually the left-hand side, of course, of the cars. Here is V8 going around the long way round Curva Grande. That gives him the inside line into the next corner. It's going to be dancing on the brakes as we run through the Della Roggia system section. Sorry, and Scavi has had a big problem going through the corner. Actually, here, let's have a look at Scavi's point of view as he goes into the corner very hot, very deep on the brakes, skips over. That kind of boxes the Delesi driver, Joe Gonsim, in. And then, of course, Scavi is hampered on the way through. And Soulshock following V8 through here very nicely indeed. So an interesting portion of the race. Unfortunately, that puts both of the Bergstein Transport Service drivers down at the back of the grid. And here is Beregoz then. The drivers are going to just be playing chicken with the overtake allowance, and it's going to be Skycloud who is following in third place. But for how long can Skycloud hang on here? She had a deficit of about 0.4 of a second to Adaptive Inc. on the way in qualifying. And at the moment, I'm afraid Hector is just showing me qualifying on my screen, so I'm not going to put that onto the screen right now. So it is Skycloud in P3, Adaptive Inc. in P4, Woe Grizzle ahead of his teammate Jose Luis Cervantes. Let's go back to the head of the field though. It looks like everybody has chosen the same tyres, all starting on the soft tyres, just wary that there might be a first lap incident or two. And there is Vader just dipping a wheel or two off into the gravel on the exit out of Lesmo 1. Here is Skycloud with Adaptive Inc. less than a second away, but Inc. himself now with a penalty on the car. Unusual to see that, but Woe Grizzle ahead of Jose with Senor Dude and Vicinity following closely behind. What news of our S2 champion V8 he has got himself back to P9 and he has an incredible pace. So he's managed to avoid damage, which I think is the bare minimum of expectations that you have going through that lap 1. Soulshock 11th, Scavi 12th, and Black Evo long way back at the moment. I think he's had to stop to repair damage. Here they go then, the leaders back through the Tribune Straight, and Vader has managed to get ahead. He is using the boost though. Beregoz shapes to the inside once again. Vader sticks to his line round the outside, doesn't over defend. Beregoz though hanging on to his overtake allowance, but now as the following driver, no DRS for them, of course. They have to run with just this push to pass as Beregoz is going the long way round Curva Grande once again, trying to get that inside line, heading down into the Della Roggia chicane, and Beregoz back ahead of his main championship rival and driver who has had more wins, but they still have multiple wins to their names. Our two fantastic full season contenders here, Beregoz and Vader. It is 0.2 of a second separating the two of them. I'm trying to get you Hector, and if someone could message Matt, that would be awesome for me, as Vader goes around the outside into Ascari, puts himself into the dirt, but he hangs on. Can he control it through the exit of Ascari? He absolutely can. Another overtake, 2 changes for the lead in lap 5 alone, and we are lining up for an incredible battle throughout the course of this 39 lap race around Monza. Taylor is enjoying this, saying it's absolutely incredible stuff. But I was just trying to say, if anyone's in touch with Matt, please could you ask him to tell Hector to force the race condition. I do not seem to have that right myself, so we will see how to make it happen. But Beregoz getting a little bit slidey going through the next corner. That was the Retafilio chicane, and that is Inc. Then, having had his penalty, now being caught by Woe Grizzle. Turns out, it seems that this Monza circuit, perhaps not the special, quite as special a track for Inc. as perhaps the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit was. But here we go. And another point of note here is that Taylor has scorched into the lead in our chat leaderboard today as well. There is also a hype button that you can now use on YouTube, and you can hype your favorite channel or video, and I'd love it if you would spend 1 or 2 of those on SVR and on my commentary website, my commentary channel, Webo Commentary. I'm sure you all know your way there by now. But this is lap 6. Vader leading now by 1.2 seconds after Beregoz getting a little bit loose going through the previous corner. But both of them pushing each other, of course, and it's exactly what we want to see. Pushing in a time sense rather than any kind of physical sense between the two of them. Skycloud, how amazing to see Skycloud hanging on here as Woe Grizzle, and it looks like Inc has gone off. Inc is off the circuit on the approach to Parabolica of all places. So possibly, let's have a look. Is it a miscalculation? A touch of the grass? What on earth was that? That was insane from Adaptive Inc. Now, he might have touched the grass, but I mean, that much? That was out of the realm of what I thought was physically possible for the drivers. Here we go on the braking zone. That is a lag spike, surely. That's insane from him, and unfortunately for him, brake lock, says Taylor, but that seemed to defy the laws of physics to me as well. VAT, so how about this? Up to P7 from near or the actual very back of the grid, running through through the first few turns. He's got Senor Dude just ahead of him. Jogon Sims in 8th, and Vicinity is in 9th place. Remember, the drivers are all on the soft tyres, and it's going to be a question of whether they can get away with one stop here today. I think they probably will. We haven't got that tyre wear to a point in Monza where it could be a decisive factor. VAT already ahead then on the run in towards Ascari to take up his racing line once again. Nice easy pass from VAT. Jose following Woe Grizzle. They're probably able to give a little bit of a tow, the Bro Carga teammates here. Skycloud on her own, 4 seconds front and back at the moment, as Beregoz is now being slightly gapped by Vader. That is 2 seconds between the two of them, unfortunately, right now. And I'm reading on my Hector display that Hector has frozen, so I can't give you the full functionality, and it may be that your links aren't working either. If you have got use engineer overlay for Hector, I don't know if I can while everything's happening here. That's a big change for me. Let's see if I can do it, but I don't want to miss important things happening on the racetrack. I don't think that is going to give us what we want in terms of a display, sadly, Matt. But yeah, it seems like it is stuck on qualifying at the moment for me anyway. I will try and reload and see what happens. But yeah, I have to just focus on what's going on, unfortunately. Thanks though, Matt, for stopping by. Skycloud in 3rd place. Jose now overtaking his teammate Woe Grizzle. I wonder if that was just a cooperative maneuver. Fortunately, slightly too far back in time for that to have been caught. And there is Senor Dude screaming out of Ascari. It's almost like you want a static camera on Ascari corner, because most laps someone is going to lose it. Vicinity goes against Stolshock, who gets the better exit out of Ascari corner, runs around the outside of the Mega Driver. Kimi's Racing Team's Solshock goes up into 9th place, and he's had to come from the very back again, exactly as VAT has had to do. And they are now using the boost, of course. There's lots of dust and dirt being kicked up on the cars as they run through the following corner. That little shimmy to the right as we go past the pit lane entry, and Vicinity then trying to collect as many points as possible for Team Mega, but with Jogon Sim and Beregoz currently well ahead of Team Mega on the racetrack. it is going to be really difficult to make any headway. Here is Scavi with Black Evo, who has got the predominantly black side pod covers, and has also got the blue number 46 on the side of the car. You can tell them apart that way. He's also removed the red stripe, so that's very nice of him to have done that for the final round here. The gap between the two, it is 2.3 seconds, and we've got Roberto watching as well, who's cheering on Jose Luis. So that's awesome. Delma and Roberto watching. Great to have you both with us and cheering on Jose here, number 24, the Mexican driver for Bro Carga. He's got the Visit Mexico sign on the rear wing as well, in case you were in any doubt as to his nationality from any angle of the car. It's Skycloud in P3 though, and she is still keeping that gap behind to P4 at 4 seconds. Beregoz versus Vader. The more pressure that Vader can be put under by Beregoz, the better, of course, the more likely we are to see a mistake. But one tiny moment of inattentiveness or drop in focus for our drivers, and it is curtains for your race. The penalties, the track limit penalties, are constantly here to greet you as well, and I'm expecting to see more than the action we've already seen of off-track moments for everybody. As Jogon Sim comes through, he's in 8th place. Adaptive Inc. then, I think he had to pit to repair damage. He's down in 9th place. Scavi pretty long and wide through the Retifilo corner. Soul Shock coming through behind him, and he has got he's got Vicinity still close behind. And don't forget that we've got Vicinity there running. I'm seeing a drop in what's happening on the track at the moment. I'm not sure. I'm just sorry. Apologies. I'm trying to keep an eye on what Hector is doing. Let me see if I can get a refresh here. Whether we've got anything. My side, unfortunately, still says that it is qualifying. Although, I have to say, on the alternate view I've got, it does say it is a race. So let's give it a go. Let's try and get that organised for you. I'm juggling keyboards as well while I do this. Unfortunately, Vicinity still following closely behind. Let's see if I can't try and get this in. No, that's not happening. So let's refresh and see. I will try and turn this on and see what happens, but I think my view is still saying qualifying. Hey, we're all right. We're okay. Okay, good. So this is what we have on our view. We are seeing now, I think, the race view on Hector. We can start to give you some idea of what's happening in the championship, for example. Here are the championship standings. If things finish the way they currently are, and I have to move this over here so we can read it a little bit better. But as things stand, of course, Vader will take the championship by 8 points in the end. So Beregoz pitting, I'm being told, by Empire. Let's have a look at that one. No. Yes, of course, he has pitted, so 17.2 seconds. Thank you. He's gone for the undercut here and might be having to use, obviously, a two-stop strategy to run this to a finish. You can see Balofay very stable in 3rd position in the championship. Possibly Grizzle claiming 6th place overall against one of our winners, Arya, who is no longer available to race, but we think about him frequently, especially as Beregoz likes to blame him for pretty much everything that goes wrong in the league still. But I'm sure he's not still doing that. But we'll come back to that later on, and we will give you a nice close POV battle to watch. We'll go to Soul Shock here, who is currently running in P11 of all places right now. Vader, though, still on the soft tyres. He'll be wary of the undercut coming from Beregoz, but also wanting to make sure that he sticks to his plan, plan for Vader. We are into lap 12. The tyres are starting to get into the danger zone here for him. And Taylor saying, yeah, Beregoz went for the undercut, but he had a 2-second deficit prior to the pit stop. So we'll see if he can pick up any of that 2 seconds. So any gain to Vader will be useful. If he can get tucked up underneath his rear wing, he will get a tow as well, which will help him in fuel economy. It'll help him save some boost as well for later in the race. Vader is still pushing hard. I think, no, I was going to say headed towards pit lane, but no, indeed. So Vader on that lap running. I don't know how fast because it doesn't tell me on the most crucial point. I think a 1:30.5 is Vader's most recent lap time. Beregoz obviously having his out in and out laps. Let's go across the line. 30.5 is the comparison. 30.2, so he's gained maybe 2.5 tenths of a second only so far, not including the in and out lap comparison we will see later on. Senor Dude and Adaptive Inc. Continue to fight over P4 now. Skycloud also pitting, and she's now dropped behind several drivers. Adaptive Inc. has succeeded in grabbing an undercut on Skycloud, despite the fact that he had that massive off into Parabolica, which I think was very little to do with a lack of skill and a lot to do with a problematic connection there for him. You're watching Soulshock at the moment, who is only 1 second away from Vicinity in P10. This is Adaptive Inc. just 1.5 tenths of a second away from Senor Dude as we head into the Lesmo section under the forest cover in the Parco di Monza. Running out of this Lesmo 2, Senor Dude is giving it up straight away here. So he is looking to just let him go as quickly as possible. Down in towards Ascari we go next, and I think Adaptive Inc. is going to hold his breath every single time he goes into Parabolica from now on, and possibly have to be a little bit further to the right here on the braking, just to give that margin for error. No, not a moment of it. He's put it in the past. It's in the past. It's nothing he could have done about it, and absolutely maximizing his run through the next corner. Vader heading through Curva Grande. This is his 14th lap on the soft tyres, and a 30.6 is his last lap. Now that's a big gain for Beregoz on lap 13, 30.1 in the comparison of the two drivers. That's a big delta between the two of them. So I'm expecting that Beregoz will make a gain here, but of course his tyres will be a 2 laps older at this stage. Beregoz has to win, no doubt. In his mind, he knows exactly the job that he needs to do, and then everything else that comes from it is just a matter of whether Vader can hold on and avoid danger and traffic here. Vader will be running this car as long as possible on the soft tyres. This is a long stint on full fuel at the start of the race, of course. He's used nearly half of his boost, probably 52 or 3% remaining on his boost only, and we are only 14 laps into the 39 lap Grand Prix here at the VR Sim Racing World Championship, and into the pit lane we finally go with Vader, and let's see what Beregoz can do then. Of course, his delta, we were expecting the pit stop to be 11 seconds plus the time it takes you to refuel if you are refueling, but a tyre change only costing you in the region of 11 seconds ultimately. Vader then out of the pit lane, and Vader is close because he's going to be still building the speed all the way down to the braking zone here. Beregoz already at VMAX, and how about that for a catch? That's a 1:30.1, 2 consecutive laps from Beregoz. That has brought him to within 7 tenths of a second of his championship rival Vader, who put in a 1:37.6 on his in lap, a 1:37.7 for Vader for Beregoz on his in lap. Absolutely incredible how close these two great rivals are as they run through. Someone has made big contact with that concrete barrier, and I have touched one of those trying to move it out of the way, and my car just stopped dead because it has got the weight of concrete in the sim as well. It is crazy. You're still watching Soulshock picture in picture as he tries to close in on Scavy now, who has had his pit stop, I do believe, dropping 1 position so far. Scavy has gone, no, he's 15 laps into his soft tyre run is Scavy, so he's dropping down the order, while other drivers, of course, are going quicker at this stage. So very close at the front, 1 second only between the two of them as they run through the next few corners. Let's go down to that battle for 10th position. This is Scavy limping around. Well, my apologies. I'm getting wrong information on Hector. It says 15 laps on his tyres, but he has indeed already pitted. So he's in between Solshock and Vicinity as they run through, and putting in a personal best sector right now from Scavy. So the tyres in great nick right now as we run down the back straight here towards Curva Parabolica, occasionally called Parabolica Alboreto, but we all know it as the Parabolica, of course. And heading through, Scavy in towards the pit lane then, having only used about 45% of his tyre wear rate. So I think not too happy on that set of tyres at the moment, but committing, I think, to that 2-stop. Out of the pit lane comes Adaptive Inc. From his second pit stop, I believe that is, after fixing the damage. He's down in P9 right now, and he's crossed the white line on entry or exit. I don't know if that was on exit. Let's have a quick spy. I don't think, no, he was well wide of it from exit, so I think it was on entry that he got that 3-second penalty. So it's really not going to plan here for Adaptive Inc. at all. And up front then, the gap 1.4 seconds right now as Vader is dropping the hammer on his run right now. Running out wide goes Beregoz. That is still entirely legal as they run down. They can go wide of this white line as well, as we saw earlier on, and stay valid. But it was a big gain from Beregoz that lap, 30.5 to a 30.6. But I think some of that came at the very end of the long straight, as Beregoz has 1/4 of his overtake allowance remaining. He is using it a much greater degree. Looks like we've got an overtake potentially there for P10. Let's go back and have a look. Here is Solshock. Are we going to see another issue for Adaptive Inc. potentially? Certainly I saw a problem there. Let's have a look. Yeah, oh, okay, that is the penalty being taken from Adaptive Inc. So it wasn't another off-track excursion for him. Jose down in 11th at the moment after his pit stop on the new medium tyres. His main reference, I think, today is Woe Grizzle, his teammate, who is currently a lot further up. Woe Grizzle is in P5 after pitting and coming back out. So clearly all not well with the Cervantes pit strategy from the Brocarga side, but it's been fine for Woe Grizzle. Unfortunately for Jose, it is Vader, Beregoz, Skycloud, V8 Eater, who was right at the back of the grid and has brought himself all the way up to P4 right now, and he is now targeting a podium here. Remember, V8 Eater, that's the current S2 champion. He's already won the S2 championship, and he's standing in for Balo Fay, who is serving a race ban for post-race comments, unfortunately. And V8 Eater seemed like the most suitable person to get involved for Team Mega. And as I'm sure you can tell, he absolutely belongs in this lofty company. Well, Grizzle's in P5, Senior Dude in P6. Jogon Sim runs in 7th. We've got Vicinity in 8th place. Everybody having made their first stops anyway. Adaptive Inc. has gone onto soft tyres right now. He's not taking it easy out there either. And he's got tremendous pace, but unfortunately a couple of big slow moments. We've had obviously a big 3-second penalty, and then we've had the crazy off that we saw on replay. Jose down in 11th place, Scavy in 12th, and Black Evo in 13th position. Here is your race leader Vader by 1.6 seconds only, and the longer Beregoz can stay with him, the more likely it is that we will see an error, or even just the tiniest little slip up that will cause problems. Vader runs an incredibly marginal setup as well. Very, very pointy and oversteery, and the last thing you need coming out of Ascari is a moment of oversteer. As any racer among you will know, you need the most neutral handling car that you can possibly get away with. I'll go down to P9 because Adaptive Inc. is closing on Vicinity here. That's Vicinity, who is running in P8. Oh, that is a little bit active on the steering there from Adaptive Inc. He makes the overtake in the end. Vicinity was in the middle of the track, and I hope Vicinity made it through the corner. I think he had to delay his run significantly. He may have felt that was quite aggressive, but I think Adaptive Inc. was given room right and left, and essentially he made both choices. Here comes Soulshock down the inside, as you see picture in picture. That's a great overtake into Parabolica from Soulshock. Love to see an overtake like that, but in part it was down to a slow Vicinity. He was struggling, possibly with a penalty, but certainly slower through Ascari than he would have liked. That was another great overtake from Soulshock, who's making a real habit of this, but unfortunately getting the Retafilo chicane wrong. Soulshock, 0 to 0 moment, sadly. I'm sure he'll clip that precisely between compliment and sympathy, as here we go. Vicinity had a run back at him, the number 42, but Soulshock went deep, and then it's like you're going over a ramp over those big curbs. Unfortunately, Soulshock losing out to Jose in the end as well. Jose up to 10th place, much to the delight of our Cervantes or our Diaz fans here. But unfortunately, he is going lawn mowing on the exit. Well held from Jose. But unfortunately, that is going wide just as I was greeting his fans once again. Here we have what happened. We go into Curva Grande. Everything looks straightforward, but just crazy understeer. Big snap. Amazing hold and control from Jose. But unfortunately, in order to get those amazing moments, you have to have made a mistake in the first place. So there we have it. Jose in P11. Back to the head of the field then, and we'll see that Beregoz is putting in a fastest of anybody sector in sector 2. This is very, very tight still, but 3.1 seconds, because Beregoz is now having to be careful on his overtake allowance. You can see that on the sort of bottom right of your screen. Actually, you can't see that at all because Soulshock Stream is in the way. Let's turn Soulshock Stream off, and you can see what I mean. Just to the left of the track map that's moving, you can see the overtake allowance. So that's something you can watch. I'll try and announce it as well when we are following other drivers. We'll go over to Senor Dude though. Senor Dude is currently running in P7. Where is he? Here he is, but he's super close to the car in front. He was very much closing in on Adaptive Inc. He's got Jogon Sim nearly 2 seconds behind him. It's lap 20 of the 39. Of course, we've just passed the halfway point of the race, especially for the leaders. Black Evo is picking up a blue flag at the moment, it seems. So he's going to have to yield as the rearmost driver to Vader and to Beregoz. And that could be a little bit of jeopardy that we're looking for potentially in our race. But it's Vader. Where is he right now? You can see the blue triangle on the green circle, I should say, on your track map as to exactly where our lapped driver is. We can't yet see him in the foreground of our camera angles. We might see him here. There he is. That's Black Evo about to be lapped by Vader. Commentator's Curse Empire calls out. That was on Jose, was it? My apologies to Jose if that is the case. But I think I did it to Soulshock as well, just a few meters earlier on. Yeah, there's plenty curse to go around for everybody. You get a curse, and you get a curse, and you get a curse. Here is Vader running. There's no amount of curse that can penetrate Vader's control of the force. He is 3.6 seconds in the lead of this race, and it's starting to look very, very ominous at this stage. I can almost hear the Imperial Death March song. If it wasn't copyright protected, I might even be tempted to play it for you softly and building the volume as it seems to be happening for Beregoz, who's just dropped several seconds there. That is now 6.5 seconds Vader has as an advantage, and that is going to allow him to just take it a little bit easier if he can. Zcriz is cheering on with Grizzle and Jose. Zcriz, a big Bro Carga fan, and just for you. Let's find out where is Woe Grizzle. Looking amazing actually in P5 at the moment, and powering out of Parabolica to finish out his 21st lap, start the 22nd lap. He is showing very, very well indeed today. I can see we've got Soulshock and Vicinity swapping places potentially. Let's go over to them. Here is Vicinity coming through Ascari. I hope it's not another problem, but Vicinity has been struggling to get the car out of Ascari, and it looks like Soulshock is repassing him then. Down we go in towards that Parabolica corner. A lot more straightforward than the previous one for Soulshock, as Vicinity has a great run coming down the start-finish straight. I think Vicinity with less wing and certainly less rear grip than Soul, but on the straightaways, certainly Vicinity is able to get a few more miles an hour or kilometers an hour of momentum initially down the run. But it's all important, of course, your exits out of the three big exit points of this track. Della Roggia we've just been through, Ascari, and of course back round at the start of the Variante del Rettifilo. It's lap 22. Let me know your favourite moment of the race so far. Here is Jose behind this group now. Obviously he got ahead of them, but he's dropped back slightly. Empire calling out a Joe Gonsim. Excellent race so far. Here he is. Oh, just as we called to him. You should have delayed that a little bit, Empire. He was wearing a penalty at the time, so he's now dropped back slightly from Senor Dude. But yes, definitely a good race so far from Joe. Up 3 places from his starting position. And the lead at the front still somewhere around 6.7 seconds. Skycloud still is in 3rd position. V8 Eater getting a little bit closer now, I think. Here is V8 Eater now. That is 6.7 to Skycloud. 6.5 behind V8 Eater is Woe Grizzle. And then behind him is Adaptive Inc., our newest newcomer to the S1 division, and who pushed Vader to the most remarkable victory last time out in the Nürburgring. Vader though is about to go through and try and pick up another win of the season. And you heard in that little montage we did earlier on that Vader's name was called a significant amount of times so far. It would be 8 wins of 13 if he can complete this one, and nobody has any business dreaming of a championship contention if someone's going to take 8 out of 13 wins. That's pretty close. In the background, this is Woe Grizzle and Adaptive Inc. Now, Adaptive Inc. has gone on the soft tyres, but of course he will have to pit again before the end of this race. He had a moment into this very corner earlier on as he comes through. Woe Grizzle has plenty of life left on the tyres. I wonder if Woe Grizzle will think about just releasing Adaptive Inc. here, because they're not really in the same race. But of course, any time he can hold him up legitimately will be to his benefit. Adaptive Inc. with about, well, less than 25%, certainly around 20% of his boost remaining in the car, where Grizzle has held on to a lot of it. So he's in a good position for later in the race. I wonder if Woe Grizzle is actually defending here at all. No, he's not using the push to pass in a defensive way at all. But Adaptive Inc. round the outside, round Curva Grande, in towards the Della Roggia chicane, and he's through. Very straightforward, that one from Adaptive Inc. with a tyre advantage for now, but it's going to run out very, very quickly. Adaptive Inc. then in that P5. V8 Eater, as I mentioned before, in P4, he was sent right to the back after a great qualifying position, courtesy of several bumps and bangs going through the previous through the first part of the lap there. So here he is, V8 Eater P4, Adaptive Inc. in 5th, Woe Grizzle in 6th place. And you've been watching Senor Dude for some time, and it's not been the most interesting of views. Let's cut over to Vicinity, shall we? Because he's got a nice close battle going on in front of him. Vicinity close behind Jose Luis Cervantes, and here he is, the Brocarga black and green and the black and red of Team Mega here. This is Vicinity in P11, car number 42. Trailing car number 24. Very appropriate there, and the sparking going down the approach into Curva Parabolica. fabulous circuit, this Monza, but it is absolutely beset with bear traps to catch out our drivers all the way through this race. Lap 25 of 39. The lead at the moment, 6.6 seconds. Vader ahead of Beregoz, who's probably now thinking that he needs to accept his fate as P2 in the race and the championship. I know that he was saying to me earlier that after he watched Vader's performance in the Nürburgring, he said, you know what, finishing second to Vader is still a very, very respectable place to finish a season out. But there's still a chance. And Alessi will believe until the checkered flag, I'm sure. Just to remind you of the championship then, as I will just turn off the vicinity feed for a moment. The provisional championship, if things finish the way they are right now, it looks like Vader will be the champion. Beregoz will be second, just 9 points away after 13 rounds of the championship. We will have Balofay unable to contribute points today, but he's not going to lose points either. On 159, will be in third place. Solshock in fourth. But we're Grizzle gaining a position on Arya, one of our race winners. Skycloud gaining a position on Joe Gonsim. That is no mean feat whatsoever. Scavvy and Senior Dude will tie for 8th place on points anyway. We're Grizzle will be nice and close. Let's just take you through the rest of the order then in the provisional standings as things are right now. Yank the Tank there in 12th, not able to feature today. But no other changes throughout the course of this provisional championship. But back then to the racing action, and it looks like we've just missed possibly a change for position again between Jose and Vicinity. Let's have a look. Anything doing here? Was it just a long brake pedal for him? Oh no, it was a long brake pedal for Vicinity. It gets reset back. So we had a moment of a place gained. Adaptive Inc has the fastest lap at the moment, and that is a 1 minute 28.660. Vader leads still by 6.6 seconds. I think probably managing the gap at the moment, and Beregoz is there. He was very close, and they had some great clean overtakes at the start of the race, but ultimately once the race longevity starts to take effect, Vader just starts to inch away, and his lap times not out of Beregoz's range by any stretch of the imagination, but a couple of 1 minute 29s have been the difference makers, I think, between himself and Beregoz. Behind them, we've got Skycloud here. Skycloud running a late addition to the championship, of course, for Kimi's racing team, but she has been absolutely incredible. She has won, I think, in every race car that we have. The SF23, the Adrian Newey Red Bull Junior, and the GT3 category Ferrari. V8 Eater is unable, it seems, at the moment to gain any time on Skycloud. That gap is 7.1 seconds now. V8 Eater would be absolutely overjoyed with starting his first race in S1 with some additional settings to get used to. I don't know exactly. I think ride height is involved and possibly spring rates, but certainly natural frequency is involved here for the S1 drivers rather than the S2 drivers. So in one sense, this is an easier racetrack to make a debut with those new settings, because I think a lot of the setting choices are fairly obvious. Beregoz pits then right now, but V8 Eater showing that he absolutely belongs here as the reigning S2 champion, the 999 in P4. And don't forget, he had a very dramatic start to the race. Adaptive Inc pits, and his team are wearing white and purple right now, so he hasn't got the Yamplacked regular staff. I think they were stretched thin. Remember that the Formula cars are here in Monza for this race weekend, but next race weekend, the GT3 drivers are heading out to Road Atlanta for a day-night-day transitional race here. Well, this is tight between Senior Dude and Adaptive Inc here. Ink's going to want to make sure he keeps this one. He's going to try and do 11 laps on the soft tyres. That seems pretty straightforward, actually. given what we've seen earlier on. But yes, Road Atlanta, so some of our race crews have had to be split between the two setup weekends on consecutive weekends across the Atlantic. Wasn't the most sensible choice, but our excellent logistics providers here in the league, our title sponsors of many of our teams, have certainly been helping with that personnel change. We've got Joe Gonsim in P8, Solshock in P9, Jose Luis Cervantes in P10, Scavi in 11th, Vicinity running 12th place, Black Evo in 13th, but same as it ever was, it's Vader ahead of Beregoz, these two competing over the top two steps. But Beregoz first in the pits again. Vader's going to be able to run this race. Sky Cloud gets a little peek at the back of the Delesi white and black car. V8 to now pits, trying to perform an undercut here potentially on Sky Cloud, who will be running to just make sure she gets a really clean final 10 laps on the soft tyres, or even 9 laps. I think it will be 9 hot laps on the soft tyre. That will put her in great stead for the end of the race. Where Grizzle has been having a absolutely spellbinding race so far. This has been tremendous, and his consistency, he's been scoring 10, 11, 10 points in the last 3 rounds. Woe Grizzle, for me, has been the driver of the final 4 races of this season so far. The uptick in his form. He did have 1 second place round 6 of the championship, but he was low scoring or no scoring prior to that, and here he is getting lots and lots of points. The number 11 for Bro Karga has been thoroughly impressive. Take nothing away from the likes of the top 3 in the championship, but you've got to call out great performances wherever you see them, and I'm seeing one right now with Woe Grizzle, and I think he would be quite happy to continue the season into a 14th, 15th, 16th round even. I know that the admins are pretty tired, as most of us are here, and are quite looking forward to the off-season. But yeah, it's certainly an incredible run from Woe Grizzle right now. Senor Dude has been strong as well. Had a couple of double-digit scores so far this season, a 10 points and a 12-point score, and he's in 8th place in the championship. He's got a 3-point buffer to guess who? Joe Gonsim is just behind him on track as well. Joe Gonsim really needs to outscore Senor Dude today, but I think Joe Gonsim would be pretty happy finishing the championship in P9, especially if you can get a top 8 here today in Monza. 9 racing laps to go then for our drivers. It's Vader ahead of Beregoz by 5.8 seconds. Once again, Beregoz closing in a little bit through the course of the pit stop. Vader now stroking this car home very, very gently, making sure that he doesn't make any big errors, because he could still lose this championship with a 5th place or worse if he did pick up a huge amount of damage. And his lead is not so strong that he can rest on his laurels and park up early. Blue flags then for the Buckstein Transport Service car ahead for Beregoz now. And I think if that's got the black side pod covers and the strakes, that will be Black Evo. And running on out, I did say to Black Evo I would inspect his livery closely, because he's been tinkering with it somewhat. We're Grizzle in P3 at the moment, but that's flattering to deceive slightly. He still, I think, needs to make another pit stop. Although I've got a question mark in my mind because Sky Cloud is close behind him on new soft tyres. Does Woe Grizzle need to pit again? Let's have a look at the fuel remaining on his car. It's identical to Sky Cloud, so if he can get the mediums home, he could be still in contention here. It's going to be a very, very difficult job, especially in the next few laps, to hold off against Sky Cloud. But there's a chance he could go home here. It won't be comfortable, but I don't know whether you decide that a chance of a strong finish is better than the certainty of a lower order finish with a pit stop. Let's head through then down into the Della Roggia chicane. We'll try and get you a driver to watch. I think Sky Cloud might be a good one. Let's give you some Sky Cloud POV here as she makes the overtake absolutely beautifully, running through there. You don't get replays on the POV, unfortunately, but this is the Della Roggia chicane, and that was just a tyre advantage possibly helping her. She's going to dive down the inside into Lesmo 1 and completing the move. Very, very tidy. Excuse me a moment. Apologies for that. Okay, it's Vader, Beregoz, Skycloud, as it was before. Adaptive Ink, the next one, closing in to try the overtake here on Wogrizzle, who is obviously falling back a little now in pace. Wogrizzle, 131.3. Adaptive Ink just put in a 128.0 and has had his fastest lap taken away by Vader, 126.480 now from Vader at the head of the field. There's a yellow flag ahead, a yellow flag on the circuit. Let me try and get hold of that in the replay buffer. Let's see what just befell. I think it might have been one of the drivers in front. Let's have a look. Maybe Skycloud, or it may have been the car in front of Skycloud who went off. We'll wait to see if we get a repeated. Yeah, I think it was just that Buckstein car. So no drama there for Skycloud, for the lead drivers here. She's dropped 22 seconds from Beregoz, 32 seconds from Vader. But that is very lofty company to be compared against here. This is Wogrizzle versus Adaptive Ink. Adaptive Ink taking some fairly unusual overtaking chances, you'd have to say. But with a little bit of the boost remaining to him, gets ahead before Ascari, uses the boost to literally overtake. A lot of drivers you'll find just using that boost to bolster their lap times, but Adaptive Ink just seemingly reserving it for those drives. There's better drives out of corners against drivers with worse tyres. Still, Wogrizzle in P5. He has a 3.9 second gap behind him to V8 Eater, and he may have a chance here to hang on with just 7 laps to go. There is V8 Eater in 6th place. We've got Senior Dude in 7th. Jailhouse Chris cheering on Vader very loud with the full caps there from Jailhouse Chris. We've got Jogon Sim in 8th, Soulshock in 9th. If you haven't said hello yet, do reassure me that you're here and who you're supporting, or just if you want to shout out, I'm more than happy to recognise those of you who take time out of your day to watch us live. It is a better experience, of course. If it's at all possible to you, do tune in live to our races. Do make sure you've subscribed to the channel as well. If we've got some cool post-season, off-season special events, things like that, we want to make sure that that you watch and you're here to enjoy them with us. So make sure you're subscribing to SVR-Racing and to Webo Commentary on Webo Red 5. Apex Specs just coming in from S2. Those guys have finished up nice and early. They do run typically about 10 minutes shorter, and it looks like also their races are slightly more efficiently administered, possibly. but we do have to allow for some content in between things, and some extra attention with Hector today as well, of course. This is Beregoz in P2. Ahead of Skycloud, who has Adaptive Ink trying to rob her podium here, and that will hurt, I think, if she does lose her podium to Adaptive Ink. He has worse tyres. They will degrade faster. Skycloud has to deal with the Buckstein Transport Service car coming through, but this is some jeopardy for the podium right now with 5 racing laps left to go. Skycloud's used all of her overtake. That's unusual, and Adaptive Ink has a little bit left. She jinks left to take the inside line. Adaptive Ink might get himself all the way across here. Skycloud still on the inside line. Oh, that was a large amount of curb on the way in. She almost T-boned Adaptive Ink, but she was well in control of that one. Unfortunately, though, Adaptive Ink up to the podium positions. And at this late stage in the race, I've got to say that is going to feel really hard for her. It looks like Jose might be making a pass on Jogon Sim at this stage. Let's have a look. Potentially, was that a Jogon Sim mistake coming? This is Jose. There is an overtake happening in front, and they're going to come together, and Jose is just going to sneak through there. Wow, that was either incredibly lucky, or I'm sure he would rather I said tremendously well judged on the way through the red Filo chicane. He picks up a position on Jogon Sim. Empire just praising Adaptive Ink there, especially given that he had a big off that I don't think was his fault at all, plus a 3-second penalty, which may have been his fault on entry into the pit lane, but he's managed to get himself back into P3 after making a unscheduled pit stop. This, though, is Skycloud. She does have better tyres than Ink towards the end of the race, but she's got to stay with him to stay in contention. V8 Eater is right with Woe Grizzle now. V8 Eater on the soft tyres. Woe Grizzle just trying to limp these medium tyres home in the final 4 racing laps that we have of the VR Sim Racing World Championship top tier in the Formula Cars. Don't forget, we have the season finale live next weekend, same time, and we've got the final season finales to come out on the Thursdays on my channel via replay, as well as the Adrian Newey race. And I'll try not to show anything that I did in that race. That was not a good one for Webbo or for representing his team. Down we go with V8 Eater, who is representing Mega incredibly well. Through he goes into Ascari. Another great overtake from him. Just hang on to it on the way through Ascari on that slightly different line. V8 Eater into P5 then. Your reigning S2 champion, reserving for Balo Fay today, who is going to be 3rd place in the championship no matter what becomes of any form of racing to date. He is absolutely guaranteed that, shy of getting some sort of season disqualification or some terrible thing like that. Here, though, are your live championship standings. I will move them across for you, just so that you can see. This is if things finish exactly the way they are right now. Vader will be your world champion. I think we can say with a good degree of confidence that will be the case. I don't remember any in-race issue for Vader to be appealed against. It's very rare for Vader to feature in the steward's room anyway. But Vader will finish potentially just 9 points ahead of his. It's looking like 10 points thanks to the fastest lap now. 10 points ahead of Beregoz. Shout out for Skycloud, who's only done, I think, 5 races, possibly 6 in the championship. Where is she? This will be round her 6th race of the championship. So shout out to her for potentially finishing in 10th place after just competing less than half of the rounds of everybody else she's fighting with. Beregoz in P2, Adaptive Inc in P3. And as I say, Balofay will be 3rd place. Soulshock will be a very popular and very well deserved 4th place in the championship for Soul. That is that's commitment, that is hard work, and that is tremendous performance from Soul. He is currently in 8th in the race. Skycloud does probably have a pace advantage over Soul, but he has continued to work like absolute stink to get this together. Here is V8 Eater closing in potentially on Skycloud's 4th place. He's managed to secure 5th ahead of Woe Grizzle right now. The Canucks are 6th, 7th and 8th positions now. Here comes V8 Eater passing the American driver Black Evo for Bergstein Transport Service. A big thank you as we close out our season to all of our title sponsors this season, to Delesi, to Kimmy's, to Bergstein Transport Service, to Mega Racing, to Coach Dave, and to Bro Cargo. What a tremendous season we have had, and it has been in no small part thanks to our main title sponsors. It has been tremendous. Don't forget, of course, Jamplakt Interiors as well. So we are filled with gratitude for them, and hopefully they will be able to feature strongly in one way regard or another at the end of our season and into our season 3 in the 2026 VR Sim Racing World Championship. But we have race broadcasts to sponsor. You can sponsor the Monza Grand Prix, for example, or similar, or you can bid to be a title sponsor for next year as well. So please, if you are interested in getting your name up on our screen or upon our cars, do let us know. Get in touch, and I'm sure that we can agree terms and make sure you are really well represented. I do want to make sure before we finish up that I have a look at at the vastly improved livery here on the Bergstein Transport Service car for Black Evo. Gone are the red stripes, and in are the beautiful. I think this is a huge improvement. He's gone on brand for the driver, a blue 46 there, which doesn't quite gel, but he's that's his brand as a driver. So he's sticking with that. But the black side pod covers do look absolutely fantastic. Vader is starting his final lap of the race, and this, I can't think of a better way of finishing our season than to ride on board with this tremendous Dark Lord of the Sith. He's going to try, I think, to make this the fastest lap overall. He currently has it on a 1:26.480. He may get a distant tow plus a little bit of dirty air from the car in front. I think that's Jose by the look of that rear wing. I think I'm seeing the word Mexico. Am I? No, I'm completely wrong. It is the Mega Racing driver Vicinity who peels across to one side to allow this fastest lap attempt here. Through the Lesmos we go. Empire says Vader is a worthy champion. Beregoz has been unbelievable. Such a great season. It really has been a fantastic season, and that is coming from one of the top runners in the S2 division, Empire, who has gone away on holiday. I think what's that, holiday number 4 during the season now, Empire? You're a very, very rich man. Through Ascari for the final time as we head down towards that Parabolica corner. And you heard the montage at the start of the race. We've done this several times before, and Vader will go through the Parabolica corner then. He is pushing like crazy. Let's see if it's a new fastest lap. But meanwhile, the most important thing is that Vader wins the championship and the race here in Monza. Once again, he didn't get the final fastest lap in the end. I think it will be a bit of a competition between our top tier drivers. But Vader is again your winner by a nearly 20 seconds in the end. But it's Beregoz who crosses the tape and hits the pit wall to finish P2 in the end. The Flying Finn in second position, and Zenith says, bow to your master. One of Vader's loyal stormtroopers there, Senor Dude, the chief of the stormtroopers. Adaptive Ink in P3 nabs that podium off Skycloud, who has a tremendous finish to the season. She closes out in P4, just half a second ahead of the S2 champion. V8 Eater in 5th place. Great performances across the board here. Hats off to Woe Grizzle for another really strong finish. A P6 in the Brocarga, making one fewer stop than anybody else, I think. Here comes Senor Dude. May have been on that same strategy, but Woe Grizzle, the lead driver on that option one-stop strategy. Lots of congratulations coming in to Vader. I'm sure he'll watch this back with a great deal of pride. Senor Dude in P7, and of course Vader will be taking names there. It is Jose in 8th, Jogon Sim in 9th, Soulshock in 10th, Vicinity in 11th, Scavvy in 12th, and Black Evo finishing in 13th place. That is the end of what has been a 13-round, 26-week slog and absolute fun fest that we've had here at the VR Sim Racing World Championship. Once again, you can see that Vader is your champion, as far as I can say with any degree of confidence. I can't imagine that anything could get in his way. Vader wins the race then, takes the fastest lap, was absolutely on another level today, ahead of Beregoz in P2, Adaptive Ink in 3rd place, Skycloud in 4th, V8 Eater in 5th, Woe Grizzle, Senor Dude, Jose, Luis Cervantes completing the top 8, Jogon Sim, Soulshock, Vicinity, Scavvy, and Black Evo. Fantastic race. Let's see if we can top that with the S2 races or with the G races next week. But from me, Webbo, from us here at the VR Sim Racing World Championship, thank you so much for watching all season long, and we will catch you on the next race day.